When most folks in this room hear Patagonia, they might picture towering snowy peaks, like the logo on the popular American clothing brand. But on the Argentine side, most of Patagonia is actually a patchwork of dry grasses, shrubs, and rocky canyons that are home to wild animals like guanacos, small wildcats, foxes, and pumas that you can see on the left side of the slide here. On the right side of the slide, however, we see the most common animal in Patagonia, sheep. Lots and lots of sheep. And sheep ranchers, Argentine Patagonia's gauchos. All of these photos were collected by my camera traps that were placed all at the same field site, a working sheep ranch. In fact, over 90% of Argentine Patagonia is private land, most of it used for sheep ranching. This means most wildlife lives on ranch land. But sharing space can be complicated, especially when it comes to ranchers, sheep, and wild carnivores. You see, sometimes wild carnivores hunt sheep. This is a big loss of income for ranchers, so ranchers kill sheep in order to prevent this. Problem is, we need wild carnivores on the landscape to hunt wild prey so that there's enough vegetation to maintain a biodiverse ecosystem. And that is good for sheep. So, how can ranchers keep sheep safe without having to kill wild predators? Well, turns out this form of human-wildlife conflict is common all over the world. And there are things to try, but nothing is one size fits all. And what may work for a cattle rancher in Montana or a goat herder in Nepal may not work for a sheep rancher in Patagonia. And trying things out one by one is expensive and not financially feasible for most ranchers. This is where my research comes in. In southeastern Argentina, I get diagnostic. And I'm identifying the factors that make a wild carnivore more likely to hunt sheep on a given ranch. To do this, I combine tools from wildlife biology and social science to build a complete picture of how ranchers, sheep, and wild carnivores interact. I complement the long hours spent setting up camera traps to study wild carnivores with long evenings spent sipping mate and interviewing ranchers as they walk me through what they're seeing on their land. Interdisciplinary approaches like this are key because they prioritize information from people the same way we do data about wildlife and the environment. This is not common in my field, but it is integral. Not only does this give wildlife biologists a clearer picture of the conflict to better work with ranchers, but it also means that the people who currently live this challenge are an active part of its solution. Thank you.